Welcome to Passion Inspires. Join us as we explore the world of marketing and design and share insights and stories that spark inspiration and drive meaningful change. Welcome to Passion Inspires. I am so thrilled to have Mike Buwalda with us today. Mike is founder of Money for Ministry, that is now Canopy. And Mike has incredible insights for anyone who wants to learn about legacy giving and how to talk to your donors about legacy, the whole sphere of legacy giving. So I would love to have you, Mike, begin by kind of telling us, how did you end up even in that topic or area at all? Go as far back as you want.
It was an accident, a providential accident. I worked in the nonprofit space for 10 years before I launched my company with Plan Giving. I worked for a Christian school in the McBain Cadillac area. And after that, worked for the Christian Reformed Church headquarters in their missions department and got exposure to Plan Giving there. At the Christian school, the principal told me, hey, I'd like you to do something with Plan Giving. And I didn't know what to do. So I called Barnabas Foundation, had them bring an attorney up to McBain, Michigan, and I did everything wrong that first night. The dessert was lime green sherbet in cups. We picked a hot, humid night in July in the cafeteria with no windows, bench seating. It was the worst possible arrangement for donors, and they came in droves. And we had a great night. We had great response. And I realized it has nothing to do with green sherbet or the room or the seating. It had to do with, we picked loyal, faithful donors who loved the school and wanted to see it thrive for generations to come. So my first learning was at the school. So did that.
That's a big insight in the very beginning.
It really was, because that's really the critical piece for Plan Giving for any nonprofit. A lot of them overcomplicate things. They get wealth engine data, they get AI data, they sort for wealth and age and just make it really complicated. If you talk to your most loyal, faithful givers, that's the key. If you have even a loyal, faithful, let's say a widow who's been giving you $5 or $10 a month for 10 years in a row, I'd take her all day over a one-time $10,000 donor as an estate gift prospect.
Wow.
Loyalty is the key. So learn that at the Christian school early on.
So from loyalty is the key, what happened after that? What kept moving your heart in that direction?
So then I worked for the Christian Reformed Church, and it was a business missions organization called Partners Worldwide. I got exposed to a lot of business people, donors in that world. We were connecting business people here with their counterparts in developing countries for business development. And learned a lot about donors, learned a lot about fundraising in that time. But one of the business donors I traveled overseas with said, Mike, I think I see some entrepreneur talent in you. What do you want to do besides this? And I said, I'd love to help other nonprofits grow. I love this world of growth and marketing. I called it cause marketing. I'm not sure what that even means, but I want to help nonprofits grow. And so he helped me over a series of breakfast meetings, sharpen the vision. And what I discovered as I went around to all these business donors, they had incredible networks and resources to help them grow their company. For example, I met with a car dealer, a successful car dealer, and he would meet once a quarter with non-competing car dealerships. And when you went to the meeting, you had to take your letterhead and type up your most profitable strategy that quarter, staple a $100 bill to it, and bring it to the meeting. And they read them to each other in the circle. And you're learning a ton from your peers about what is really working and not working in car sales and growing a car dealership. And they'd vote, and the winner gets the pot of money.
Wow.
Well, nobody in that circle needed the money. They're all owners of successful dealerships. But just for fun, they did this $100 thing. And I thought, you know what? That is missing in the Christian nonprofit world. I did a little research. There are 1.8 million charities in America. Of that, 80,000 are evangelical Christian nonprofit. And I thought, I want to go after that group. I want to help that group grow and do something like my car dealer example. So to my business mentor, I said, what if we started a magazine and we just collect the same thing, the most profitable, growth strategies for fundraising and share them in a high-end publication. And he said, you have my support, let's do this. So I went to a company here in town called KCI. They handled all the design, the print of my magazine called Money for Ministry. We were aimed at Christian nonprofits. We called it Money for Ministry. And I remember I started this business in my attic in Elger Heights on a folding table, yellow shag carpet, no insulation. And I just, on my little yellow legal pad, wrote down every name I knew in the nonprofit world. Just several columns on each page, and just filled 2 pages of names. And began calling them and said, I'd like to interview you for my new publication, Money for Ministry, and really dissect what's working in your fundraising and what's not working. And man, was that exciting. I was getting a front row seat to the very best of what was working at the highest levels, small, medium, large nonprofits, getting a front row seat of the best of what's working and putting it into a magazine format that people could subscribe to. And we charged, I think it was like $200 a year to subscribe to this publication, which today would be like $500 a year. So kind of a high-end publication. And we built this base of subscribers who were saying, we want this information. Just my car dealer wanted that, and the produce people that I was meeting, as businesses, nonprofits were just hungering for what's working with my peers.
Yeah.
Direct mail, banquets, major gift, planned gift, is the whole gamut of what's working and not working. So we built this base of subscribers who wanted to grow in fundraising. And then about a year or two into it, these subscribers said, hey, this print thing we're getting is really cool. Can we get live training on these topics?
Wow.
Live training. Now, this is before there was any webinars. There's no such thing as free webinars yet. Okay.
So how long ago was this?
Probably early 2000s.
Okay. So we're in this century.
Yeah, this century at least. And I met a guy in downtown Grand Rapids named Dave Kale. He's a sales trainer, and I think he still is. And I got to meet him, and he was charging $85 a ticket to come on to his live telephone seminars, training salespeople nationwide how to improve sales. And I thought, Dave, teach me how to do this. I want to do that for fundraising. So I created a phone seminar series of live training for $50 a person. And come on, and our first speaker, John Frank out of Seattle, he's an expert in monthly giving programs. Wow. How do you do a monthly giving program? What are the things that work and don't work? And so we built a subscriber base of monthly phone seminars and our magazine, and then the breakthrough happened. President George W. Bush passed the faith-based initiative, and that released federal funds for faith-based nonprofits, like Teen Challenge, for example.
Yeah.
They were recognizing, hey, there's some good stuff happening here with addiction recovery. We want to fund that. Well, now everybody and their brother wanted to figure out how to get a hold of that. So I found my way to the top guy in the faith-based office, said, will you speak on my little phone seminar series?
Wow.
He agreed. And back then, there was no online signups. It was, you got to call a toll-free number. So major friction, right? You got to pick up a phone and call a number to sign up. And my wife, Becky, was our call center. So our little cordless unit-end phone in our Elger Heights home was the call center. And the 24 hours leading up to that event, the phone rang off the hook.
Wow.
Just crazy. Just ring, 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 ring. People wanted to be on this thing. Well, now we're on the map. And what's happened was inadvertently, I'd built this huge network of Christian nonprofit leaders from every size and scope, from very small to very large, nationwide, with this magazine, the phone seminars, and now we have this thing going on. And that was good. I had a little business happening. And that was my only dream at the time, was start a little business to support nonprofits in a little way. And just my observation of that was that the big untapped thing I was seeing in all the interviews and all the phone seminars, the big untapped thing was planned giving.
Yeah.
That I could see that was a huge deal. Massive transfer of wealth was coming, and only the very wealthy were being served well. The top 5% of donors had all kinds of organizations set up in the nonprofit world to help them. Good people that we like and worked with, Barnabas Foundation, National Christian Foundation, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought there's a massive untapped thing for middle America, average, ordinary donors to nonprofits who are not being served at all with planned giving. And I thought to myself, somebody should start a business to help grow planned giving. And I thought there should be like an estate gift marketing consultant. And I thought maybe I could do that. There's two little problems. I don't know anything about estate giving or consulting. And it turns out that was our advantage, because as you and I talked before, the field of planned giving is very technical. It's very complex. It's very legal. It's run by accountants and lawyers, of which I am not. They're very, very smart, bright people doing those upper end things for high end donors. And I thought, what about people like my mom, where you got to talk to her in Reader's Digest language, guidepost language?
Yeah.
Like me, I just talk in regular people language. So it seemed to me that there was a problem with the messaging of planned giving. The messaging was what I call terminology and techniques. It's everything you want to know about how to do a bequest or a charitable lead trust or a charitable gift annuity, all this lingo. And I thought, who cares? Or who's inspired by this? This does not connect with anybody, especially middle America. And then it was a death and dying message, right? When you die, this is going to happen. I thought, what if we flipped that and made the message about life and family and your faith in Christ? So I call it faith and family messaging. And we tested that and just determined that there's a hunger for this. People want to bless their organizations that they care about for generations to come, but donors too are scared of planned giving because it feels technical and complicated, and it's about death and dying. Just everything they didn't want, they were pushing it away.
Yeah.
When we changed the messaging to faith and family, the response was incredible.
Wow.
Well,
how did you get that message out, first of all, Mike?
So two of my partners in this network I was growing with the magazine and the phone seminars, I knew the leadership at Barnabas Foundation and National Christian Foundation. They had a local office here, and they were both doing great work, especially with the higher end donors.
Yeah.
And both of them came to me individually, but about the same time, to say, Mike, there's a real problem here. We can't get our members, our clients, to execute anything with planned giving. They don't get around to it. It's never urgent, right? We got the next dinner is coming up. The next mailing is coming up. There's always these urgent deadlines. This year's budget's coming up. And they never get around to doing anything with planned giving, even though the opportunity to go big in fundraising is right in front of them. They're not doing it. One of the people I talked to said, it's like donors give 10% of their wealth from cash, the checkbook, and they have 90% of their wealth is in everything else, their home, their retirement savings, their life insurance over here. And every nonprofit is fishing in the backyard kiddie pond, little 10% pool.
It's a great analogy.
And they're missing this 90% lake.
Truly, yeah.
And that was very frustrating to my friends at Barnabas Foundation and National Christian Foundation. I said, Mike, can you think of a way to help nonprofits just make it easy to execute planned gift anything? They're doing nothing right now, like nothing. 90% lake, nothing. 10% urgency. They're all running crazy trying to meet budget every year. Yeah. There's got to be a better way. So I began talking to these nonprofits and said, what would you think about a messaging service to help you change your messaging from death and dying and terminology and techniques and change it to faith and family? And what if instead of you have to call and order physical newsletters and physical receipt devices for your receipts, what if instead we made it easy that I'll write the messaging for you, I'll customize it for you, and I'll email you once a month? They said, we would love that.
Wow.
And they paid me $300 a month. And I'm taking the same content and just rebranded it for everybody different. But now I have a new subscription service. Here's my content. You can plug it into your newsletter, your website, your receipt inserts, your everything you do, your banquet. It's all ready to go.
But the genius, though, is in what content do you send out, right? Because you could send out dozens and dozens of communication, and it might be nothing in return. what was the content that you send out? You mentioned faith and family.
Faith and family.
But what does that look like? What is
Yeah.
that?
So instead of giving the normal, at the time, everything looked the same. It was, now here's 10 steps to get your charitable bequest in order. Just all this legal stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we would create content about how to pass your values on to the next generation, how to avoid a family landmine, do things that are practical for families as they think about their faith and how to communicate their values of stewardship to their kids, both while they're living and when they are no longer here. Those were very real needs that people had that nobody was addressing. So we were just really keyed into what do these donors want to hear about and give it to them in language that they understand without any technical jargon.
Wow, that's very profound.
So it's kind of the guidepost, Reader's Digest version of Plan Giving.
So it's donor focused.
Donor focused. I used what I called the mom filter. Even when we grew our team, I said, we're going to keep the mom filter and all this stuff. If my mom wouldn't pick this up, forget it. We're not going to put it out there.
I like that. David Ogilvy always talked about his wife's filter whenever he did advertising. Because he figured exactly the same. That was the same idea.
Yep. So we had that going on for quite some time. Now we have the newsletter, the phone seminars, and we had this Plan Gift, we call it Plan Gift Marketing Service, this email going out. And what I discovered is that we were doing a good job with pain relief for nonprofits. They all had a pain. Their pain was, my boss told me, my board told me, do something with Plan Giving. And most are doing nothing. So working with Mike in his attic, on his folding table, solved that problem. They could check the box and say, yes, boss, we're doing Plan Giving now. with Christian faith and family messaging. So everybody's happy, right?
Yeah.
But they weren't. It turns out that when our business really shifted, and sort of the nonprofits, when we shifted from doing pain relief to what I call dream delivery.
Wow.
And then our business went 10x, and the nonprofits went 10x with this mindset shift from pain relief to dream delivery.
Beautiful.
So what does that mean? I got invited to go to my first big national client, was right here in town, Bethany Christian Services. At the time, they had 70 offices nationwide. And I knew the leadership team. They said, Mike, can you come in? And we know you're talking to these different nonprofits about everything with fundraising and Plan Giving. Just want to pick your brain about strategy. We want to revamp our strategy on Plan Giving. So I had nothing to give them. I had my little emails, but they weren't asking for the email. They're asking for a bigger picture strategy. And they said, just come in, let's talk about our Plan Giving what strategy, what's working, what's not working. And I came in again with my famous blank legal pad, the same pad I had up in my attic when I first was calling my newsletter interviewees. I came in their meeting there, the boardroom, and I had my blank legal pad and a pen, and I set the pen on the blank legal pad. And I noticed that when I did that, the whole room, the energy it shifted, like relaxed.
Wow.
Like Mike's not here to sell them anything. I had nothing to sell. I was just there to listen. Right?
Wow, Mike.
And that was powerful.
That's amazing, man.
Listening. So I said, I have two questions for you, Bethany. And I give them, the headings are aspiration and aspirin. Aspiration, my question for you is, when it comes to Plan Giving, what's your greatest aspiration? What do you dream about? What do you wish would be true a year from now that's not true today? What are you yearning for, striving for, planning for, hoping for, praying for? Describe that.
Yeah.
And then I just shut up for 20, 30 minutes. Hard to believe Mike would shut up. I shut up for 20 or 30 minutes, and I just took handwritten notes as they all talked. And the energy lifted now. It was relaxed because I had the pen out and the blank legal pad. Now the energy was lifting in the room as they described, well, I wish that we this. And they were going on about their dreams and their passions about Plan Giving. And wouldn't it be great if this happened? And I'm just taking notes. And after 20, 30 minutes, I said, one more question for you. When it comes to Plan Giving, what's your aspirin? What's the headache? What's the pain, the frustration? What's annoying to you? What's irritating to you? And same thing, I shut up for 30 minutes and they had more animation of describing the pain and what's not working with Plan Giving.
Yeah.
And now I have like 8 pages of handwritten notes. At the end of the meeting, the advancement director said, Mike, can we pay you a consulting fee to come up with a report of your best shot at observations and insights of what you just heard today on this? And that was my introduction to the world of consulting. I got paid a very nice fee to do this professional consulting gig on just a one-page report. And I thought, this consulting thing isn't all bad. And I haven't done anything yet. This is plan giving, right? But just their chance to share dreams, the observations, aspirations, and aspirins. They wanted to pay a good fee to have me communicate back on that. So we met again, and I had a one-page report like they asked, and I had 5 observations and 5 recommendations. And the observations were pretty much what they had told me last meeting. And I didn't tell them that, but when I read off the observations, they thought I was brilliant.
Because where'd you get these ideas?
They're like, this is amazing. And they might edit or massage the thing here and there, but both, it was like, it's got the group all in one mind, like, yes.
Yeah.
And then, okay, what are your recommendations, Mike? And I gave them 5 recommendations. Some they could do without me, some with me. And at the end, they said, can we pay you a monthly retainer to help us quarterback this stuff? This is the growth for us is all in here. The 10x growth we talked about.
Right.
It's right here. So that was the beginning of the entire model of how we served nonprofits.
Wow.
Listen, blank legal pad. And that was years ago. And now even to this day, when I sold the company 4.5 years ago, I got called back to do a training on the blank legal pad. Because now the company has a whole bunch of wonderful working services. But I've learned that with nonprofits, it's better to serve than to sell, right? Most vendors want to sell you something, right? Yeah. Here's our amazing Plan Gift website. Here's our amazing digital thing or our whatever it is. Here's our cool product. You should get it. Here's what it can do for you. And that's fine if you want to spend your life selling. I found it's much more satisfying and productive to serve the client with a blank legal pad, listen, and let them describe their aspiration and their aspirins and watch what happens.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Game changing.
The heart of consulting all within those 2 questions.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That led to the survey program. You hear about that now or a little later?
Yeah. Let's go into that. What did that lead into?
So the Plan Gift marketing service was helping them with a routine. What I needed to help them with was their results. Right? The routine was, I get this email, Mike, we're plugging it into the receipts and the newsletter and the social media and everything. But how do we track if this is working or not? That was the question that keeps coming up. Well, the answer is you can't. And messaging is not really a good way to track messaging, right? You're putting out there, it's a good thing to do, but you can't really track it. But they all could check their box, say, hey, boss, we're doing Plan Giving now. So it still served a purpose.
Yeah.
And nobody would deny that messaging is important. It's very important. But what they really wanted, the 10x need, was show me the money. Show me the results.
Right.
And I didn't have an answer for them. I didn't know how to do that until I went to a Barnabas Foundation Plan Giving conference. I went every year. I spoke many times in the workshops. And one year they brought in the head of Plan Giving from World Vision. His name's Jim Bakke. He's the current director of Barnabas Foundation. At the time, he was leading the entire program for World Vision. And he gave the keynote that year and said, we're World Vision. We have a $1 billion budget. So we can do anything we want to do in fundraising and plan giving. And we've tried everything in fundraising and plan giving. And he said, we've tried the regional donor reps. We've tried the websites. We've tried the campaigns. We've done event strategy. We've done it all.
Yeah.
And they're all good. But the one thing that far and away by a mile created the most impact was the donor survey.
Wow, Mike.
Well, tell me about that. And he described the donor survey. He said the survey, we're going to be asking donors questions about their overall experience with us as an organization.
Yeah.
Not just Plan Giving questions, but how do you relate to us? How'd you first meet us? What do you like about how we communicate? How can we serve you better? And then in that, you mix in some Plan Giving questions, like, you ever thought about including us in your will? Or if you have, or would you let us know? Or just kind of some relational questions. The survey gave them massive bucket loads of responses of people who were either saying, I'm interested, or I'm already in, haven't told you yet.
Wow.
Huge. But the problem there, for my purposes, was that World Vision has an army of trained Plan Giving reps to follow up.
They're not, as many other nonprofits don't have that capacity.
Most don't. I'm talking to local nonprofits who have nobody to follow up, like zero. Barely have a fundraising staff, let alone a plan giving staff.
Yeah.
So I, with permission, I talked to World Vision at length about their program. They gave me the name of their consulting organization to go in deep with them about how they're doing the mechanics of it. And I thought, what if I try to beta test this locally and maybe customize this successful approach at the World Vision level and roll it back to the local nonprofit level? So I went to 6 of my local nonprofits that who knew me from the newsletter and from the phone seminars and such, and said, could we try this for a year? And we'll do it at cost. I just want to see what happens locally. How do we serve you well with this donor survey program? We did it. And a year later, the verdict was the exact same for all 6 beta test clients. The verdict was the results are off the charts, through the roof. This has never happened before. We have just tons of people saying, yes, I'm in. Yes, I'm interested.
Wow.
But they said the work about crushed us. It was so much work. Yeah, there's so many responses coming in all the time, month by month. We can't keep up. That's a nice problem to have. We got too much interest. So I thought, we got to think, what's the vision here? Andy Stanley would say, what's the wow, then the how? Thought the wow is we got to make plan giving super easy that a nonprofit with no staff could push a button and do this and be successful. I wasn't sure how we do that. I just knew that was the wow, right? So I took it to my friend Brian Quist, the president of KCI, and he's also the one that company was the one I mentioned earlier, helped me with this magazine. So they already knew me, right? We were doing this Money for Ministry newsletter magazine together. Yeah. Had worked together for a few years already. I said, Brian, I have an idea. I said, plan giving is the biggest untapped thing in all of nonprofit America. It's huge. The wealth transfer coming is $41 trillion with a T. If you could spend $10 million a day, it would take you 3,000 years to spend that. That's what's coming in the next generation. And most organizations are fishing in the backyard kiddie pool, not in the big lake. And I said, here's what's working, Brian, this donor survey program. Here's the problem. We need to design it in a way that a nonprofit could do nothing and still be successful.
Wow.
And Brian immediately saw the potential here. He said, I know what we got to do. We know how to automate things. They do sophisticated mail programs for business, nonprofit. They handle all the vote by mail in Michigan. They know the technology side. He said, you know what? This is going to be expensive to build, but I see the potential here. What if you and our team work together at our expense, not me, who had nothing? What if we work together to build out the back-end infrastructure for an automated plan gift conversation through mailback correspondence, through digital correspondence, so any donor could express interest and be served without any staff person touching it.
Wow.
If they so chose. Now, some still want to follow up, and that's fine, but you now have the option. So we spent 9 months in KCI's conference room with his tech team and just began to build out what this conversation would look like over the course of the year. So you and your wife said, well, we never even thought about doing a will. And somebody else was thinking, we have an interest, we have a will, but it's old. And somebody else, we're in, but we haven't told you yet. All different treatment streams are needed here.
Yeah.
Custom to that donor's timing and their interest level. So the map behind this technology would make your head spin. I can't even describe it I could see it, but it is very sophisticated to follow a donor and converse with them the way they want to be conversed with. So we rolled it out. A year later, we rolled that out and tried it with a few of our known local nonprofits. And now it's humming. Now we're getting the results and the option to do work or not follow-up work with it.
It's incredible.
That was a game changer. And then once we did that locally, then the word got out to our national friends. We did a lot of work with rescue missions, for example.
Yeah.
And we ended up serving a whole ton of rescue missions because they talked to their peers. We had national nonprofits call. One of them called and said, we want to get $1 billion in our state gift pipeline. Can you build the roadmap for that? So this thing we built could be applied to the smallest of local nonprofits or the biggest of national nonprofits. It didn't matter to us if your donor file size was 2,000 or 2 million, it still worked.
Incredible, Mike.
Game changer.
Wow.
By the grace of God, and thanks to the people that made it possible, the interviews, Brian's willingness to do this for free, a lot of things happened to make that moment possible, and it changed the game. By 2019, our partners, our nonprofit partners, did cross the $1 billion mark in their plan gift pipelines. And it was faith and family, the messaging, right? The message was different, and the method was different. We were going to serve you, not sell you. And we're going to talk about your faith and your family, not terminology and techniques. Those two little things were big.
And now where's Money for Ministry today?
Yeah, so now it's called Canopy Giving. I sold the company September of 2021. Everything was going fine, but what I discovered is that my true love has always been one-on-one consulting and coaching. That's how I grew the company, doing the interviews and the one-on-one. Always loved that. As the company grew and grew, you're building a team, you're building systems, you're in this like CEO role, and I could do that. I just didn't enjoy that anywhere near as much. Brian is a born CEO. He owns multiple companies and likes doing those kind of things. And we had talked about what would it look like if we changed things up a little bit here, where he'd buy the company, and I would stay on for a year. And even to this day, we're still all friends. I see him for lunches, and we go to baseball games together, and I'm invited to the Rescue Mission Conference at their booth, and it's very friendly. But my calling, my passion is one-on-one with people.
Yeah.
Nonprofit leaders, emerging entrepreneurs, people hungry for God. I spend my days doing that now for the last 4.5 years. I mean, that's the zone God called me to. And Brian and team are better at the big picture CEO stuff. And they're doing good, really good.
Well, it's incredible that you serve people every day. I mean, multiple people every day. You've served me, meeting with me for free.
That was the toughest case.
Do tell. And you meet with men of all different ages, it sounds like?
Yeah, all ages.
What are some of the topics that you talk about when you hang out?
Yeah, so when I began that part of the journey, I didn't have a topic to talk about. It was, once again, serving, not selling. And I got that, Jeff, the day after the business sale. We had a reception for our clients and our friends to pass the mantle from Mike to Brian. And when I came home, Becky, my dear wife, said, Mike, I got 3 words for you. Get a hobby. Because I was, in a sense, retired now, right? 20 years ahead of schedule. And I'm not one to sit around, though. I wanted to do something meaningful and productive and purposeful, just different now.
Yeah.
So I went to Cran Hill Ranch up in Big Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah.
And the back of that property is a prayer cabin. And I spent 2 days up there in total silence. Brought my blank legal
That's
bag
hard
in.
to believe.
Well, no one was there to talk to. If you were there, it would have changed everything. But total silence, blank legal pad and a pen, and no phone.
And who are you listening to this time?
God.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, I just sat in silence and really asking God, okay, now what? This is not the plan. I was planning to do this thing with Plan Giving and nonprofits forever, and a big change happened. And God gave me 5 words, like clearly gave me 5 words, not audibly, but clearly. And the 5 words in that little prayer cabin was, give what you were given.
Wow.
Give what you were given. And I thought about that. What was I given? I was given 20, if not 30 years of older, wiser mentors in the business world, in the nonprofit ministry world, who just for no reason took an interest in me. They had nothing to gain from it. The business people that I was meeting on these trips through the Partners Worldwide had nothing to gain investing in me. Just this upstart, kid who was trying to figure it out. And then these nonprofit leaders who took the time and the interviews and the phone seminars and just did all this stuff for free to give me their best stuff. I just learned so much from these mentors who graciously freely gave their wisdom, experience, their insights, their challenges to me. And I felt like God telling me in that cabin, well, now it's your turn.
Wow.
And here I am, like 50 years old. I thought, these guys always seemed smarter and older than, but God was saying, now it's your turn. And I remember I ended that time in that cabin using the words of the prophet Isaiah and just said, here, my Lord, send me.
Wow.
That was it. Not knowing what that even meant. I'm just, here, my Lord, send me. And that was 4.5 years ago, and the phone hasn't stopped ringing. I spend half my days doing these meetings, whether it's in person, a lot of coffee shops, restaurants, Zoom calls, and just people wanting to grow from A to B. Either their nonprofit, trying to figure out a growth strategy for their nonprofit, or a fundraising thing, or a plan giving thing, or something in nonprofit growth world, A to B. I get a lot of those calls. People who are wrestling with their calling and career, often from the nonprofit world, saying, hey, I'm in this role now. I'm not sure I want to stay here. Can we talk this through and come up with a game plan? A lot of calling and career people.
Wow.
Because I had a business, even though we were serving nonprofits, it was a business. When I began, people said, are you a nonprofit? And I said, yes, but not on purpose. And it changed over time. But entrepreneurs, businesses, I coach a lot of those through Spring GR here locally, or other people just call, hey, I got this business idea, I'm working on this thing, can you help me? And then just men and women, but mostly men hungry for God. Just to say, on the outside, people see this version of me. Yeah. Inside, there's this going on. Can we talk about it? I call it growing and groaning. Everybody wants to come to you with their growing question. Hey, I want to grow in my nonprofit. I want to grow in my business, grow in my career, grow in my role as a husband or a father or a mother. But underneath, there's something that they really want to talk about.
Wow.
There's some groaning. And I can relate. Any problem known to man, I've experienced it. I've had depression. I've been broke. All the things that I've dealt a lot of that pain myself. So I'm not just some pie in the sky, by and by guy. I always tell them, I'm a fellow traveler with you in this. I felt that pain. So somehow those meetings turn into more meetings with people refer me to their friends and such. And the only requirement I have, and you know this from just our interacting together, I had my mentors when I was doing this coaching, they were split on this question. Should Mike charge or not for his coaching consulting services? And half said, of course. If you don't pay, they don't pay attention.
Interesting.
And others said, no, you're at a point now in life where you don't want to mess around with the admin, the billing, and all that stuff that you hate and I'm not good at, right? And now I'm truly a solopreneur. They said, make this your ministry and don't mess around with billing and admin, anything. Just do it.
Wow.
With one condition. You no longer work for pay, you work for progress. So what does that mean? It means, as one of my older, wiser mentors told me, who's done this for 40 years himself, meeting in coffee shops and mentoring many, many, many nonprofits and business leaders, he said, end of the meeting, when the meeting's all done, ask that person, say, hey, we talked about a lot of stuff today. What's the one thing we talked about that you think is your next step? And whatever the answer is, tell them, when that's done, give me a call.
Smart.
Game changer.
Smart. Yeah, that's so
powerful. Because a lot of folks want to meet.
Moving forward.
Oh, they all want to meet because you're free, right?
Yeah.
And when you're free, you get every job you bid on. They all want to meet, but a lot of them want to meet constantly. Or like, let's meet weekly. Let's meet every third Thursday. And I say, I'll meet you as often as you want to, as long as you do the thing we just talked about. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no charge, but we're working for progress, not for pay. And that has been the most energizing thing for both parties.
Yes.
I like it because I'm meeting with people who are serious about growing in whatever the area is they're talking about. My career, my fundraising, my business, my spiritual life, they mean it. They really want to grow. But it's good for them too, because they experience progress.
That's right.
It's no fun to meet for the sake of meeting. You ever been to a meeting where you're just talking but not accomplishing anything?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, that's what meetings
All of us
are, right? So I like movement, not meetings.
Wow.
I don't want to just meet. I want to move with people and help them move, because that's what people help me do. They help me move from my folding table in the attic to this business that God took to heights that I couldn't believe.
That's beautiful, Mike. That should apply to all of us. I mean, we can overlay that idea on all of our lives, whatever role we're in
For sure.
In life and business.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, you covered a lot. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that's part of your life legacy, your calling?
Would there be any value to just briefly mentioning our 5-point game plan for nonprofits for planned gift growth?
Yes, there would be.
I imagine you have nonprofits listening to your podcast and such. And if that'd be helpful, I could share just the brief.
Please do. Yeah.
So I'll just tell you in brief, and if you want to pursue any of this, go ahead. But we determined from all the interviews with all these nonprofits, with the magazine, the phone seminars, all the consulting, we boiled it down to a 5-point game plan that guarantees exponential success in your planned giving program. Okay? Number one is you need a goal to get you going. Most nonprofits have no idea what they want to do in planned giving. There's no goal. And the old saying is, if you don't know what you're aiming for, you'll hit it every time. And that's very true in planned giving. And nonprofits should not feel ashamed that they don't have a goal. It's true at the highest levels of nonprofits. I've been in boardrooms of large organizations, same question, what's the goal? We have no idea. Okay. So,
you're talking about the financial goal? You're talking about the engagement goal? What, or all the above?
well, I let them define it.
All right.
We're going to serve versus sell. So I want to know, are you talking about what is important to you? Is it a dollar goal? Like some would say, yeah, we'd like to hit 10 million by our 10th anniversary. Okay. That's a dollar goal.
Yeah.
Some would say, we want to do a percentage goal. Wouldn't it be great if we had 10% of our donor file were known estate givers? Okay.
Yeah.
So you can have a number goal or a number goal. You could say, we currently have 100 known legacy givers. We'd love to double that to 200. So number goal, dollar goal, percentage goals, those are the three of the most common goals, but something that would rally the team behind you, because it's a team effort. Most nonprofits have nobody on staff for planned giving. That's fine. We worked with that our whole time. But you need to have the entire team and board say, we want this.
Yeah.
We're behind a goal that gets us going.
Right.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you need to have a message for the masses. Okay, we talked about messaging. The first thing I did was the messaging service. Most nonprofits have nothing. They're just, well, it's too complicated, it's too expensive, it's death and dying. We're not going to touch it. Or it's not urgent, we'll do it next year. If you're committed to fishing in the big lake called planned giving and no longer just the kiddie pond called cash, you got to start with messaging. And we recommend faith and family, multi-channel. And we use the acronym POEM, P-O-E-M. Personal contact, online events, and mailings. And I say mailings because the surveys we did, we do that language in all 4 channels, P-O-E-M. And mail back correspondence for legacy givers has an 85% preference rate.
Wow.
Off the charts. We supported all 4 channels. If you want to train your donor reps in planned giving, we got you covered. We have a whole training program for that. You want to have an event strategy for your next dinner banquet? Got you covered. You want to do a digital strategy for email and website and social? Got you covered. But the average, typical, actual estate giver in their 70s and 80s has a very high preference for a physical piece of mail. That's still true today. That might change in a decade, but right now, something about that thing in their hand makes it feel more important.
Yeah.
Coming from the president.
Yeah.
So those are the strategies. And we need to have the messaging touch all of those channels.
Okay.
So so you got your goal to get you going, message to the masses. Then we need, number 3, interact with the interested. So whereas messaging is what I call monologue marketing, we're speaking to the masses. Now we're going to do the interaction. We're going to invite people's input. So personal donor meetings with our donor reps, we're going to train them how to ask questions to invite people's interest in planned giving. Not death and dying, faith and family. At the banquet, when they're filling out the reply card for their gift, is there even one checkbox on there to express interest in an estate gift to that organization?
Smart.
The online and the website, I'm checking out my online gift. Is there anything on here that helps me check a box to take a next step? And then the survey, the mailback survey is the kingpin for getting people to express interest. So goal to get you going, message to the masses, interact with the interested. Now at number 4, we need to connect with the committed. Once they say yes, nonprofits would say, well, now what do we do?
Right.
Or we had a college call us, hey, Mike, we have a drawer full of known legacy givers from the last development leader. They haven't been touched in 10 years. What do we do?
Oh, my God.
Well, let's get to work. But the question for nonprofits, even for those watching right now, what do you do with known estate givers? How do you treat them?
Yeah.
Here's the answer that we gave everybody. If somebody surprised you today with a $50,000 check, what would you do? Whatever the answer is, do that exact same thing.
Yes, that's right.
Because a legacy giver on average is a $50,000 donor.
Okay.
It's actually trending up to about 55, 57,000 right now. But the average typical, not wealthy, just average middle America legacy giver is about $50,000 plus. Okay. So when they say you're in my will, they just told you it's coming, 50 grand or more. So if you do something special, they get assigned to a major gift rep. They get invited to your dinner, your golf outing, whatever you do for that group, start there and treat the legacy givers like they're major donors. Why?
Yes.
Because they are.
That's right.
They are major donors.
Yes, they are.
Now, my peers in consulting would tease me and say, well, Mike, we're selling real money. You're selling IOUs to be paid later. But it's all in good fun.
When you engage on that level, I can imagine that someone may want to make sure that they're investing even more in their lifetime, possibly, or at least deepening the relationship with that nonprofit to ensure that their legacy gift.
Well, Jeff, you just uncovered the magic of plan giving. And this is why everybody listening should start this yesterday. When you pursue plan giving, as we're describing here, it not only affects the future money by 10x, because the average estate gift is 10 times that same donor's lifetime gifts combined.
Lifetime gifts combined.
Okay, so if I'm a donor and I give to your nonprofit $500 a year for 10 years, I gave you $5,000 my lifetime. On average, $50,000 comes in the estate gift. Now, that's about normal. Estate gift 10 times all lifetime gifts combined. So the future payoff is enormous, but the current payoff is also enormous. When people go down the pipeline with you with plan giving, their current giving goes up by a lot.
That is so.
Double is the average, at least
They're
double.
more invested, aren't they, emotionally?
And do you know why?
Well, if I'm going to trust you for that gift out of my, will, then I better want to trust you when I'm alive, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to get to know you better, just make sure everything's going to be fine once I pass away and that gift is given.
You nailed
to
it. There's a trust issue. There's a future thriving issue.
Yeah.
One more issue, back to our faith and family motivation. When you include a charity, a nonprofit in your will, that nonprofit psychologically became family to you. Because what happened?
So there's a psychological shift.
It changes forever. Because if let's say I have 3 kids, I have 6, but let's say an average family had 3 kids, and I add a 4th kid named your charity in my will. So here's Jimmy, Bobby, Susie, and your nonprofit. It completely changes how they view you now. You're one of the kids.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the giving now, and we would track this. We had a dashboard. Remember we talked about routine, messaging versus results, the numbers. We tracked this. We tracked the donors that are engaging in plan giving and looked at their current giving. And we had many of these dashboards come back with 2x giving, that this group was giving double now.
Wow.
But we were also seeing 3x, 5x. I remember one was 12x, that the giving from the committed, remember number 4, connect with the committed. If you nurture those relationships, you're going to see current and future giving go way up.
That's incredible. So it's not just an IOU.
No.
It's way beyond that.
It's way beyond that.
Yeah.
I can take the teasing, but that's what it was. So we got a goal to get you going, a message for the masses. We interact with the interested. We connect with the committed. And number 5 is we need traction with the team. We said earlier at the very beginning that unlike World Vision, most nonprofits don't have barely any fundraising staff, let alone plan giving staff. right? And we discovered something really interesting, that in some cases, not all, be careful here, in some cases, having a dedicated plan giving person was a detriment to the program.
Because then everyone else left that to that one person.
The team kind of started backing off.
It's your area, not ours.
Absolutely. And
I never thought
the plan giving rep, the other thing, the two-sided coin here, the plan giving rep, to maintain their status and the team as the expert, keeps going to these conferences and learns more terminology and techniques. And they can't wait to share it with the donors. And guess what? The donors do not care. They are not asking for all the legal jargon. They're not asking for the nonprofit to be their advisor on their will and estate. Okay?
That's profound in itself.
Huge, huge. Now, I'm not saying never have a plan giving rep. We've worked with many of them who do a wonderful job. But if you don't have that, don't worry about it. What you need, number 5, is traction with your team. What's your team? Well, we got Judy is the receptionist, and we got Sally is the receipts lady, and we got Joe is the direct mail person, and Jim is the major gift. That's your team. Let's talk about how to integrate this strategy into your current roles. If you add plan giving on as this separate sideshow, it's not going to work. If it becomes part of the flow of our normal direct mail, our normal event strategy, our golf outing, our personal contacts, our online, if it's part of that flow of what you're doing, now it has a chance to just grow and thrive naturally. It also takes advantage of the number one factor in plan giving growth, and that is everything on your fundraising marketing calendar is on your schedule, except one thing, plan giving. That's the donor's calendar. Why? Because plan giving is triggered by a life event. Okay? You can plan your golf outing. You can plan your next 12 mailings. You can plan all that stuff on your calendar, but you can't plan the life event that will trigger the planned gift. Okay? Like we had a death in the family. We're going to Europe and we want to make sure our house is in order. We've got our last kid off to college now. There's some life event that happened, hospitalization or something, that triggers people to say, you know what, now's the time, get this done. We hear that all the time, right? Why'd you do it? Why'd you take action now? Well, this life event happened. Well, here's what happens with most nonprofits. They either do nothing in plan giving, or they say, oh, we do an annual mailing in June. Yeah. That's wonderful. But what if the life event happens in October or February or April? Okay. If we're multi-channel with all the mailings, the receipts, the online, the events, the personal contact, it's part of our breathing, our DNA. When that life event happens, we're much more likely to be included in their will.
Absolutely. You'll be front of mind.
Yeah.
You're relevant for that life event.
For that life event.
Yeah.
That's the key. We discovered that about halfway in, and what a game changer, because we were working with many nonprofits proud of their annual June mailing for plan giving and realizing this is not right. It has to be part of the DNA. So your whole team is the plan gift team.
That's beautiful, Mike. Because now your small gifts officer or middle gifts, major gifts, whatever you call anyone on your team, your marketing people, they're all thinking that way as well. And they realize they can have a conversation with any donor because they're equipped for that, right?
Totally changed it. And for most of them, they're fearful of, well, a conversation sounds scary. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Well, you don't have to say anything because, first of all, most donors aren't going to ask you these questions at all. If it's a legal question, they're going to go to their attorney.
That's right.
What you got to do is provide messaging that they care about. Like we talked about, for example, offer a free report about how to pass on my values to my kids, something like that, right?
Yeah.
If that became a checkbox on the direct mail or the receipt insert, make sure Judy in the receipts processing office knows that all those checkboxes get a free report.
Yeah.
She's part of it now.
That's
a very important part because she's identifying fresh prospects for us.
That's right.
She knows nothing about plan giving, but she knows that when that box comes in, I'm going to help disciple, I'm going to help bless that family with something they want and need for their family right now.
You're pointing to something that we're deeply passionate about, and that integrating all of your marketing, communications, fundraising efforts, have that team be unified and integrated, right? So we're all aware of what each other is doing.
Yes.
And we're building off the synergy of each dimension of that.
Absolutely. We're all committed to the growth of the organization. We're no longer going to talk about, oh, you're plan giving and you're not. We all are going to be fishing in the big pond and the kiddie pool together.
That's
for
right.
the growth of our organization.
So I have one more question for you. As one who's already, my wife and we did our trust a couple years ago. But my big question in the back of my mind, what is my nonprofit recipient going to do with that, whatever, let's say it's 50,000. We'll use that number because you've been using that. What are they going to do with that? What if I send 50,000 in? Oh, we can use this month on some of our extra expenses. Boom, it's gone. I wouldn't be too thrilled about that.
Yep.
But if they invest 50,000 into the mission that would help it become more sustainable and help it be stronger and grow, I'd feel awesome about that. But how can a nonprofit, number one, manage those gifts and steward them on behalf of that donor in that way? Like in a lot of ways, I don't want to have it be where I'm telling the nonprofit what to do with that money. I would just hope that they would care enough about our desire to steward it well, but I don't know how that happens. Talk about that area.
Yeah, a couple things. One is that let's make this a board decision of how we're going to handle estate giving.
Okay.
When I was doing the plan gift marketing service, the email, the board didn't know or care. It was just an employee level, check the box, messaging's happening. Board didn't know we were doing that.
Yeah.
The board got involved when we were doing higher level things. Like remember aspiration versus aspirin?
Yeah.
The aspiration, I remember a huge rescue mission in a major U.S. city said, we want to get to 100 million in our pipeline by our 100th anniversary. Well, all of a sudden the board and the president cared a lot about that goal.
Yes, they would.
They were very involved in the plan giving. So we had to decide with them, what will be the policy? How are we going to handle estate gifts that come in through this campaign? Okay. So we got to elevate it to the board and leadership levels. First of all, it's not just a hit and miss. Oh, this big gift came in. What do we do with that gift? That happens when nonprofits have no strategy. They do get these surprise gifts, manna from heaven. Like, oh, wow, we got a $50,000 gift came in. What do we do with it? But if you're going to be intentional, the strategy, number one, you got a traction of the team. That includes your board. Get your board and leadership on board to say, what would we do if we get 50,000 or 500,000 or 1.5 coming in with estate gifts now? Intentional. And two is ask the donor if they want to specify. Interestingly, most don't. The vast majority of legacy donors, even though you'd think, boy, they want to make sure that money goes to something real specific, they don't. Legacy donors are very missional at a high level and not granular with this particular project. When I'm gone, I want this mission to thrive for generations to come without me.
That's the key.
And I believe in the leadership. I believe in the board. I know you have a policy in place to handle these gifts well. Some would say spend it down over like a long period of time, like an endowment. And I found with nonprofits, they're kind of split in that question. Half said endowment. When a big gift comes in, our board policy is we're going to spend it over time for our Women's and Children's Center to keep costs down, or tuition reduction for our Christian school. The other half of the world says, let's use that money right away, like within 7 years of receipt.
Yeah.
So there's not a right or wrong there. I found that people have strong feelings on both sides of that question.
Got it.
What happens, though, is you got to at least have a decision as a board. Say, no, we're committed to spend down right away or long-term endowment. Either way is fine, but you decide before the gift comes in.
That's so good, Mike. I was curious about that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Anything else that I missed?
Last thing I'd say is if you have nothing or little going in plan giving, start. I hope I've made it feel accessible to you by talking today, that this is something that you can do without all the technical expertise and credentials. We built a company around the opposite of that. Okay, so start.
Yeah.
The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Okay,
That's so good.
And plan giving is we've talked, it's a huge opportunity for current giving and future giving. Start. If you're not sure where to start, my book is still floating around online called Ride the Wave, kind of lays out this strategy.
Yeah.
My very good friends at Canopy Giving do this every day for a living, working with very large and very small ministries and nonprofits. We'll be happy to give some guidance. They have a lot of free resources there too. But my advice is start. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't think you have to be the expert. You don't. You need to have a servant mindset, not a selling mindset. Think multi-channel, not one and done hit and run. and you'll do very, very well, not just now, but for generations to come.
That's beautiful, Mike. It all began with listening.
Listening
To executive leaders at Bethany, listening to nonprofits and what their angst is and their aspirations are, and listening to God in a 2-day cabin, for 2 days in a cabin.
Yeah.
It all begins with listening, doesn't it?
It's good. It's good.
Thank you, Mike, so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to hang out with you.
You too, Jeff. My pleasure.